Hi, my name is Kraig Scott, and I've received several questions about this little piece called Adam lay Ybounden, which I wrote. So I'd like to talk about it and try to answer those questions for you.
My name is Charlotte, and my question is, why did you write the song in the specific format that it is?
So first of all, Charlotte asks the question, why did I use the specific format for this piece that I chose to use? Well, Charlotte, that's a really interesting question. And I had to go back and look at the piece and find out, well, what format did I actually use? So this is what I find when I look at the piece. I hadn't really thought about this ahead of time, but it starts with an introduction, and then it's got an A section that comes twice. It's repeated. A contrasting B section, then it goes back to the A section, again the B section, and finally it ends with a section I'm calling C, something different to end. So that's the format. And Charlotte, in answer to your very good question, the reason that is the format is because I was following the words. It really comes down to the text. So next we need to talk about the words.
CJ, and what drew you to this particular song?
Words, part one. CJ asks the very good question, why did I choose these particular words? Well, CJ, I wrote this piece for my little choir here at St. Paul's Episcopal in Walla Walla for a Christmas service called Lessons and Carols. Now, this is a non-liturgical service comprising 9 read lessons, lesson music, and the lessons trace the entire story of salvation. So lesson number 1 begins in the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve ate the apple, introduced sin into the world. You know, that's a pretty sober, pretty sad situation. And it's hard to find Christmas music that fits that sad situation. But this text is exactly about that. And so it's the perfect text, I think, to follow that first lesson.
My name's Oliver. Why did you use the words you used?
Oh, and why did you use Old English?
Words, part 2. Paul and Oliver asked questions specifically about the provenance of the words. Paul asks, why did I use an Old English text? And Oliver is asking about specific words. I'm going to answer these two together. Well, the text is an Old English text. It comes from a manuscript that dates about 1400, and that manuscript lives today in the British Library. Here is the actual Old English text, and next to it you see a modernization of the text by Edith Rickert. She died in 1938. So I used mostly her a little bit more modernized English, but it still has a lot of the Old English feel. And I liked that because I wanted to preserve sort of an antique feel and sound for this piece of music.
Hello, my name is Sam, and my question is, has this poem ever been made into a song before?
Words, part 3. Sam asks if these words, if this text has ever been set to music before. And the answer, Sam, is yes, indeed, many, many times. So I know, for instance, here's my list. There are really wonderful settings of this by Boris Ord, Peter Warlock, Carson Kuhlman, Mark Schweitzer, Francis Jackson, Martha Jones Burford, Malcolm Archer, Robert Lehman, and Richard Webster, just to mention a few. And I have performed many of those with my choirs. but maybe the question you're asking is why did I write my own? Well, I wrote it specifically with my own little choir in mind to fit them and their musical talents and abilities. And also, it's just kind of fun to write your own music once in a while, isn't it?
My name is Henry. Why did you make it so slow and sad?
Henry asks the question, why is this piece slow and sad? Well, Henry, the answer is again, the words. It comes back to the words. This text is about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, sinning, introducing sin to the world. That's pretty sad stuff. But the whole text isn't sad, and there's some hope in it and some good stuff. So I think it would be good next to actually look at the whole text briefly, and then maybe look at the music briefly. A deal? Stay tuned. So let's take a quick look at the entire text. Adam lay Ybounden, bounden in a bond, 4,000 winter, thought he not too long. And all was for an apple that he took, as clerkes finden written in their book. Nay, had the apple taken been, then never Our Lady had been heaven's queen. In other words, it's trying to find something redeeming about this situation. If the apple had never been taken, Jesus would never have been our Savior, would never have come to earth to be born as a baby. Mary would never have been his mother and have become heaven's queen is what they're calling her. So then the last section, blessed be the time. Wait, Adam and Eve sinned and we're saying, blessed be that time and that event? Yeah, that's what this is saying, trying to find good out of it. Blessed be the time that the apple taken was. Therefore, we may sing Deo gratias. Give thanks to God, Deo gratias. Now, that may seem like strange theology, but it reminds me of a text in the Bible, John 16:7. Just after Jesus was raised from the dead, he came back and talked to his disciples. And in John 16:7, he told them he was going to have to leave. They didn't want him to leave. Please don't go away. And he said, it is expedient for you that I go away. It's better for you that I go away. For if I don't go away, the Comforter won't come onto you. But if I depart, I will send the Comforter onto you. So this theological idea says, in a way, it is a blessing that sin came into the world and we get to be saved. In fact, the angels in heaven who have never sinned look at us with some degree of envy because they don't know what it's like to be saved. That is also reminding me of 1 Peter 1:12, which things the angels desire to look into. The angels themselves say, oh, those human beings have an experience that we will never have. The experience of salvation, of having their sins forgiven. Isn't that wonderful? So there is something really wonderful about being able to say, Jesus has saved us. We can say, thanks be to God, Deo gratias, for that.
I have a question for
Yes.
you. Are you nice?
There was one last question. It came from a young lady who didn't say her name, and she asked if I am nice. Well, I don't know for sure how to answer that question. You probably have to ask somebody else whether I'm nice or not. But I thought I would introduce you to Malcolm and Maxwell. This is Malcolm. Malcolm, say hello. And this is Maxwell. These are our two little dogs. And they think I'm nice. We get along very well. So I'll leave you with just a taste of this same little piece. And I very much look forward to hearing you all sing it. Thanks.